So, all of this talk of marketing qualified leads and sales qualified leads is great, but let's get to a good part, right? Let's get to the selling. How do we move someone from marketing qualified to sales qualified? Hey everyone, I'm Ian Campbell. I'm CEO of Mission Suite. Before we jump into today's video, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so that you're notified every time that we post new videos. Moving a lead from the world of marketing into the world of selling is a delicate process, and it needs to be handled carefully. Otherwise, you'll just lose the lead. If a marketing qualified lead has shown enough interest in your business, whether through content, through business development efforts, or whatever it may be, usually they've just shown enough to trust you to hand over their name and their email address, maybe hand over a business card, but not really engage too much more. But now you need to build upon that trust, and you need to encourage them to give you more information and interact with you more to determine whether they're truly a sales prospect. But how do you actually know when a lead is ready to move over to sales? Well, that's what we're going to dive into today, so let's jump in. Before we dive in, let's quickly review what we know from our last few videos. An MQL, a marketing qualified lead, is a lead that intentionally interacts with your company's marketing, signaling some sort of interest, right? For example, they have engaged with your company on social media, or they've responded to a newsletter. Maybe they've filled out a form on your website, right? They've responded to any of your marketing efforts. It's called marketing qualified because they're on step one. And at this stage, you haven't spent really any time learning about their needs or building the trust that you need to actually develop a sale. We've also talked about SQLs, and these are the leads that are a step or two further into your funnel. In addition to interacting with those marketing efforts that we talked about, they've indicated that they want to know more about your company, your brand, your product, or maybe your service. And by the time they reach SQL status, you should probably know more about them too. In fact, know probably about it. You should absolutely know more about them too. You've already spent some time on this lead, so you want to make sure that this lead is actually worth your time. And I mean worth in what they are checking. Are they checking the right boxes? Are they achieving your lead scoring model? Whatever that qualifying methodology you're using, just make sure that they're meeting those criteria. And again, if this lead is not on the buying path, you're going to want to know that now too, right? If they somehow move further into your funnel, but they're not on a buying path, you need to discover that as soon as possible. It's not common, but needs do change. So check in with your lead, check in on your lead scoring model, and your team at each stage is to make sure that everything is clear. It's always a good idea. If you know that they're not on the buying path, you can do a few things. First, check your methodology, which should have been developed with your sales and marketing teams, right? Preferably together. And if it wasn't, well, now's the time to go back to the drawing board and start getting some input. Your marketing team helps you get this lead started, and your sales team is where they're going to end up. So getting buy-in from those two factions is crucial. We're going to talk more about this later, but in the meantime, just bear in mind that it's what you need to be doing. And further, if you're actually stuck with a lead and, every now and then, you just don't know what the next right step is for a contact, for a lead, maybe their needs have changed and now you just don't know what to do. Maybe your marketing team can assist you with additional content to keep the lead engaged while you both figure out if you can move forward together. Or maybe your sales team is going to be a great asset here as well to help you counter objections and answer questions to help move the lead forward. Right. This does happen much less often when you and your teams have developed a way to score a lead so that at each stage you can better assure that you're on the right path. It bears repeating, and I'm sure I'll say it a few more times today. You need a way to track and score your leads, and there is no easier or more efficient way to do so. So make sure that you can make a case for this lead by making sure that you have checked all the boxes to get that marketing qualified lead to that sales qualified territory. And if you can prove it on paper before proceeding, then you're going to be doing all the better. So now let's dive a little bit deeper into your lead scoring model. Your lead scoring model is essential, and it doesn't matter how big or small you are, it's a crucial part of your marketing efforts. And if your team is involved in crafting your lead scoring model, buy-in's going to follow, right? Products and content from your marketing team will be so valuable as you identify marketing qualified leads and move them through. And your sales team is going to be expecting solidly qualified leads, so you need both as a part of that. Again, that lead scoring model is going to be your holy grail. If you think you have a better way than a lead scoring model, then well, I'd love to learn more about your process. You can add more. You can add your comments down in the comments below. I'd love to hear more. But anyway, so before we talk about leads moving into new categories, let's get your teams together in the same room and let's start developing your own lead scoring model. First of all, everyone should really have some sort of an ideal lead and lead journey in mind, right? Of course, this isn't going to happen every time or possibly none of the time, but it is vital that you have your 100% perfect lead and journey, that you understand those things so that you have a way to score every lead. Questions that might help you identify specific demographic information about your lead are things like, what industry is most appealing to us, right? Who do we want to be selling to? What title does the ideal buyer have, right? Who's the decision maker in our company, in our prospects? What size company is most likely to buy our products? How soon are they going to be ready to buy, right? When do they want to actually move forward? What challenge would our ideal client have that we can best solve? Some of these things you should probably know already, but oftentimes teams are going to get hung up on, well, it doesn't have to be this or it doesn't have to be that. But, again, focus on what your ideal lead is, right? Focus on what exactly you want. This model is not designed to help you find any business, right? This model is designed to help you score viable leads and close those deals as efficiently and effectively as possible. Again, this is not the only client or lead for you, but honing in on that ideal client is going to help you score other demographics on your lead scoring model. Next, make sure that you have some sort of a list of events or activities that your leads will engage in so that they show that level of interest while they're in your funnel, right? Maybe they gave us their email, they've been reading our newsletters, maybe they've clicked on some links, but start scoring those things. The weights assigned to those points are going to be determined, and it's going to help to determine the most appropriate next steps. For example, getting a lead to give you their email address would likely score higher than them just liking your social media page. The lead calling into your company to ask for information is going to score even higher, right? Filling out a form, making a phone call, very different things. Think about your ideal client making the perfect journey to develop these weights and how you're going to score those different things. There's no set lead scoring model that's going to work for every company, but I can tell you that as you develop this model, that journey is going to start to become more and more evident. And it's going to be critical to future success. So spend some time here because it is going to pay off. And it's also going to take some tweaking. There are going to be some leads that cause you to re-examine your model, and that's okay, right? The most important part is to stay open to change and actually have the guts to make adjustments when they come along, right? That's not always easy to do. Trust me, I know. If this sounds confusing and you'd like a little bit more guidance, well, that's what we're here for. We are here to talk to you about your lead scoring model, help you figure out all that stuff out, right? All of that hard work, that homework, as we've talked about before, is going to pay off, right? Like I've said, as you design that journey for your lead. Of course, it would be fantastic if someone went right from contact to buyer, but realistically, that's not going to happen. So we're going to need a little bit more thoughtful and intentional process to work with. So as you develop that lead scoring model, imagine yourself not as a salesperson, but as a marketing travel agent. Your job is to craft the best trip for your lead that will keep them engaged and still give you access to some more information you need from them. What steps are going to be seamless? How can you best build trust and keep engaged with the lead? Don't race to the destination, but design the trip to make it the most engaging, and that finish is going to happen. Now, we're not racing to the finish, but I found that thinking about the goal first and working backward is really helpful. So if you begin with the end in mind, you're going to have critical perspective about the entire process, and it's going to be that much more effective as you build it out. So what is it that you need on this journey? Well, you need information. You need to engage and shape this lead into an excellent lead for your sales team. At each stage in the sales funnel, you need to ensure that you're getting what you need and that the lead is meaningfully engaged. Eventually, you should also be able to develop some sort of a sense for when the lead is ready to move forward to the next step. Again, take a look at your lead scoring model if you have any questions about that, because it should be able to answer it for you. Now, no one enters your sales funnel with an aching need to be sold to. And if they do, well, congratulations, you just found a unicorn. But most of the time, they start their own sales journey. They're looking for information, and you need to keep that part in mind. Because most of all, your journey is designed to build trust with your lead. You will be best served if you can put yourself into that role of trusted advisor. We hear it all the time, but it's true. There will be a time to move to a more sales focused position, but if you do that too early, you're going to end up losing the lead. The absolute best way to move seamlessly between MQL and SQL is to put on that educator hat and take that role seriously. Stay engaged and function as a resource. You may even consider going back to your marketing team to find content, things like videos, blogs, podcasts that you can share to reinforce your position as an industry expert and as a trusted partner. Education is going to be the first step in the sales process, and sometimes the people that move too fast past education just lose the deal. So let's say you've done all your homework here, and this process is working amazingly for your first lead and bringing them through it all the way through, right? Fantastic. Now, let's take a look at the possibility that maybe it doesn't work the same way for lead number 2, right? This is going to happen. And if it's not lead number 2, well, maybe it's lead number 49 or maybe even lead 999. You will at some point need to refine your process. It's something that everybody goes through. You might remember in an earlier video where we talked a little bit about flexibility and patience. Well, it's time to dust off your patience and hone your flexibility because you're going to need it. The best lead scoring model in the world is really just a set of numbers at the end of the day, right? So you need to stay open to refining how you score, how you move a lead through your funnel, and how you keep this journey engaging for this soon-to-be client. And that means, of course, you guessed it, homework. Best practices indicate that you've been taking notes about what's working and what might need some adjustment. Get a notebook. Use a notes app on your phone, right? Whatever it is, just keep track of what made one lead work and what kind of blocked another, right? This information is going to come in handy when you have to make adjustments to that lead scoring model. It's important to remember that your sales funnel is as much of an art as it is a science. So make sure that your teams are open and make sure that you're communicating with them about this process. As I talked about before, they should have been a part of your lead scoring model and the planning of it in the first place. So they deserve to be in on any tweaking and any changes to the model that you may make moving forward. For the marketing team, come to them with ideas, come to them with solutions, come to them with less complaining about how it's just not working, right? Be specific about what you need and stay open to innovative ideas from the team that you put together. Since your marketing is what started the journey, it is vital to communicate and remain open to that. The content isn't necessarily bad, it just might need a refresh to stay current and relevant. Maybe it needs to be retargeted. What worked for one time may not work another time, right? So be open to that. As far as your sales team goes, remember that they may be frustrated after a string of bad leads, right? They probably want to see changes made as soon as possible, but remind them, as positively as you can, that tweaks to the model are probably going to take a little bit of time. And while the changes are going to pay off overall, staying patient while we work out some of the kinks. Also, your sales team is going to have a lot of valuable information that they're going to need to share as well. If they can provide specific feedback about why a lead should not have moved through the process, well, then they can help you immensely and make a big impact on that new lead scoring model that you're putting together. In frustration, we've all uttered phrases like, well, this lead sucks. And you should push for more because there is a lot more helpful information that you need to pull out of that. If you have questions, any thoughts, any concerns, or additions to anything we talked about today, I want to hear from you, right? So drop down in the comments and let me know your thoughts. Hey, I hope you got something out of this video. If you did, do me a favor, give it a thumbs up, maybe give it a share, comment on it, whatever it takes so that others can help see it too. It always helps us with the YouTube algorithm. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so that you're notified every time that we post videos. And while you're here, check the videos out on your screen, and we will see you next time around. Cheers.